Alright, I'm going down the left side. So here we go. One-step equations. One-step equations. We're going to use what we call the inverse operations. So those are your two blanks. Inverse operations to solve. Okay, we're going to use the inverse operations to solve. Alright, and I'll talk about what that means here in a second. Brian, will you mute yourself, bud? Thank you. Tessa, you here? I saw you come in. Tessa, you here? Going once, going twice.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on?
It just took a while for, it wouldn't let me in for a while.
Okay. Did you do something? Did you restart your computer or something?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so we're going to use inverse operations to solve. Okay, and we'll talk about what that means in a second. For fractions, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. I know, crazy word, right? Crazy word. Okay, Coach Sapp, what does that mean? Don't worry, I'll explain it. Okay, so we're going to use inverse operations to solve, and if we have a fraction, we are going to multiply by the reciprocal. I know, weird word, okay? It's a weird math term. Alright, so that's one-step equations. Let's talk about two-step equations. First step on two-step equations is to undo the addition or subtraction. First. Okay, so we're going to undo addition or subtraction first. Francis, you taking notes, dude? You're just staring at me. You need something out to take notes. Imran, you're just staring at me. You should be taking notes. Sam, you're staring at me. You should be taking notes. Alright, so step number 1, we're going to undo addition or subtraction. Step number 2, we're going to undo multiplication and division. Alright, so let's look at example number 1, and we'll talk about what all this means. Right, so I'm looking at number 1, and we're going to talk about what all this means. What's the inverse operation? What's the reciprocal? What does it mean to undo? Alright, so let's talk about it. So we're solving number 1 for x, right? X is our variable. So we're solving for our variable. Okay, so right now, I've got a plus 15 with the x. Okay, so my job is what we call to isolate for the variable. So my job is to get rid of everything else that's with that 15. Okay, I'm going to get rid of everything else that's with that 15, which I'm going to undo addition or subtraction, which was step number 1 on the two-step equations, right? Okay, so this is a plus 15. So I know I need to undo that plus 15. Okay, the way I undo something, the way I get rid of it, is to do what we call the inverse operations. Okay, well the inverse means to do the opposite. Inverse means to do the opposite. So Vanessa, are you there? What's the opposite of plus 15?
Negative 15.
Yeah, so the inverse operation of plus 15 is to subtract 15. Alright, so now, what I do on one side of the equation, I have got to do on the other side of the equation. Okay, so if I'm going to subtract 15 on the left side, guess what? You better do it on the right side. Okay, so we're going to do the inverse operation of plus 15, which is to subtract 15. Great job, Vanessa. So we're going to subtract 15 on both sides. Okay, so Vanessa, you still there? Okay, rock on. You got 15 bucks, right? Okay, and you're going to go, where do you like to go eat? The mall. Okay, so you go to the mall, you got 15 bucks, okay, but you spent 15 bucks. How many you got?
0.
Okay, so those, what we say, cancel out, right? Which is what we're trying to get. So now, what's left over here, Vanessa?
X.
That's it, right? So x equals. So now over here I've got a negative 3, and I'm going to combine a negative 15 to that. So what do you have on this right side, Vanessa?
Negative 18.
Awesome job. Okay, now are we done, Vanessa?
Yes.
That's it. That's it. Caleb, hop on. All right, Caleb, we're going to do number 2. Okay, so what's the first step that I need to do for number 2, Caleb? Awesome. Okay, so I need to isolate for this y. So I need to get rid of the plus negative 16.
You need to add the positive 16.
Okay, absolutely. So if it's me, guys, okay, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying you have to do this. But if it's me, I prefer it to look like this. Those two mean the exact same thing. Okay, so the first one's not wrong, and the second one's not wrong. Those mean the exact same thing. But the reason I prefer it to look like this is it's easy for me to see the inverse operation of minus 16 is to add. Right? Because the inverse of minus is to add something. Okay, well up here, if you're looking at the inverse operation, and you're just looking at this sign right here, this plus sign, you would be subtracting 16. That's not the right step. Okay, my step to solve, Caleb told me, is to add 16 to both sides. I'm adding a positive 16. Okay, like I said, neither one of these are wrong. This is just easier for me to see. Okay, so if you want to write it like this, more power to you. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying you can write it like this also, and it might make it easier for you to see. Okay, like I said, you do you, boo-boo. Okay, so here we go. Caleb, you're doing the inverse operation of a minus 16, which is to add 16, right? All right, so where are we at, Caleb? What do we got? What's the next?
You have to add 16 to the 9, which will be your addition.
Okay. What about over here? What do I have on the left side? Okay, which is y. So y equals, those canceled out. What's 16 plus 9, Caleb?
25.
Awesome. That's it. We're done. Bryn, you there?
Yes. Yes.
Who are you waving at?
Bryn, I'm just waiting for her to wave back at me.
Sorry, I can't see you.
Oh, okay. Well, I was waving for like 30 seconds. It was kind of awkward, but I thought you were going to wave back at me. Like I said, guys, I don't like blank stares, all right? So give me something. Come on now. Okay, so Bryn, we're going to do number 3. Sam, what's up? Francis, you got a question? Okay, then don't raise your hand, dude. Caleb, no, you cannot have screen sharing privileges. Sorry. All right, Bryn, back at you, girl. Okay, I've got negative 3m equals negative 9. Bryn, what is the operation between this negative 3 and the m?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. Okay, it's understood, we just don't write it. So negative 3m is us saying negative 3 times m. Okay, so if we're doing the inverse operations, Bryn, and my operation to start was negative 3 times m, what's the inverse operation of times?
Division.
So what are we dividing by on both sides?
3.
Try again.
-3.
Absolutely. Okay, do not make that mistake, guys. We're dividing by the sign and the number. Francis, are you taking notes, son? Okay, it does not look like you're writing because you're looking at me the whole time. Okay, so we're dividing by -3. All right, take the sign and the number. Good job, Brent. So we're dividing by -3 on both sides. So those cancel out. You've got m equals. What do you get, Brent?
3.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Absolutely. Anytime you multiply or you divide by two negatives, it becomes positive. So what I say is, in math, 2 wrongs make a right. 2 negatives make a right. Okay, so you multiply by a negative and a negative, you get a positive. You divide negative and a negative, you get a positive. So m equals 3. Great job. Sarah, you there? Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, can we do number 4? Do you want to do number 4?
Sure.
Okay. What's the first step, Sarah?
It's a fraction.
Okay.
It's a fraction.
Okay, no big deal. What does it say? What does it say on this left side? Sarah, it says what?
X over 5. The left side, which one? For fractions multiplied by the reciprocal.
Okay, so the reciprocal is going to be the fraction flipped. The fraction flipped.
5 over x.
Okay, so let's rewrite this, Sarah. Let's rewrite this fraction. So I'm going to take the x out of it. Okay, so quit looking at the x. What's the denominator, Sarah?
I think it's x.
No, the denominator is the bottom.
5.
Okay, so the denominator is 5. But Sarah, is there a number in the numerator? There is. We just don't write it. What is it? No, that's not a number.
1.
1. There's a 1 in front of that x. Okay, so I could rewrite that x over 5 as 1/5 x. Okay, did I just blow your mind or what? Okay, good. Okay, that means the exact same thing. X divided by 5 is the same thing as me saying 1/5 times x. Same exact thing. Okay, so now all I did was rewrite that, Sarah. So I'm going to go ahead and take this negative equals 7 and bring it down to Gucci, right? Okay, so now again, the reciprocal means to flip the fraction. So the fraction right now is 1/5. When I flip it, what does it become, Sarah?
5.
5 over 1, but I don't have to write over 1. So what am I going to multiply by on both sides?
5.
Absolutely. Let's multiply by 5 on both sides. Okay, well, why am I doing that? Because what happens on the left side, Sarah? It cancels out, right? 5 times 1/5
Yeah.
turns into a 1, which we don't write 1, we just write x. So we've got x on the left side. What do we have on the right side? What's 7 times 5?
35.
Good job. Easy breezy, right? Easy breezy. Okay, Chase, you there?
Yes.
Chase, would you like to do number 7 or would you like to do number 9?
I'll do number 7.
Okay, number 7, Chase, what's the first step?
Subtract 9.
Perfect. So again, we're going to isolate for the variable, right? Okay, so right now, I'm not going to touch the 2x. I want to get everything else that's on that side of the equal sign away from it. Okay, so he's saying right now that I need to get rid of this plus 9. Again, how do I do that? I'm going to do the inverse operation of plus 9. The inverse operation of plus is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract by 9 on both sides. Great job, Chase. So on the left side, you've got 2x. On the right side, you've got a negative 7, and you're combining a negative 9 to it. What do you get, Chase?
Negative 16.
Fantastic. Okay, so now you've got one more step, Chase.
Divide both by 2.
Absolutely. So step number 1 was to undo addition or subtraction, which I did. I undid the plus 9. Step number 2 is then to undo multiplication or division. So step number 2, or the last step, is to divide by the coefficient. I know, big word, Coach Sapp. What does coefficient mean? Coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So the coefficient is 2. Coefficient's the number in front, exponent's the number after. Coefficient's the number in front, exponent is the number after. Okay, so absolutely, Chase, we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. What do you get for your answer, Chase?
X equals negative 8.
Great job. Great job. Okay, I know, I'm blowing your minds, guys. I know. Okay, but it'll be all right. It'll make more sense. Dylan, you there?
Yeah.
Hey, Dylan, what'd you have for breakfast?
Good food.
Okay, but what kind of food?
I don't know. Why?
I don't know, I'm just wondering. Just making small talk.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you have for dinner last night?
I think I'm lagging. I can't hear you.
Okay. Hey, do you want to do number 9?
Oh, I'd love to.
Okay, awesome. I like that attitude. So what's the first step, Dylan?
Those variables.
Okay, let's leave the variable right here. So let's leave that minus in right there, and let's get rid of that 4. All right, so Dylan, right now you got 4. So you got $4, or you got 4 apples.
16.
Hold on, baby. Okay, so I've got $4. How do I get rid of $4, Dylan?
You minus it by another $4.
Exactly, you spend it, right? Okay, so we're going to take this 4 and we're going to subtract by 4 on both sides. Okay, so subtract 4 there, subtract 4 there. Okay, so you had 4, Dylan, and you spent 4. How many dollars you got?
None.
You broke, exactly. Okay, so what's left over here, Dylan?
16.
No, hold on. Look at what I'm pointing at.
I don't know.
Negative n.
Yeah.
Okay. Now over here you've got 12, and you're going to subtract 4. So what's 12 minus 4, Dylan?
I think that's 8.
Absolutely. Okay, now, this is not the answer, guys. We've got one more step. Okay, and the reason it's not the answer is because I have a negative 1 in front of that n. I want to know what n equals. I don't want to know what negative n equals. Okay, so when you have this, your next step, your last step, is to divide by a negative 1. Okay, so all I have to do for that is I have to go through and change every sign that I see. Okay, let me say that again. I'm going to go through and I'm dividing by a negative 1, which is what the correct terminology. Okay, but hey, Coach Sapp, let's make it easy, right? Okay, so all you do is you change every sign that you see. So right now that's a negative n. Guess what? I'm going to change it to a positive n. Right now that's a positive 8. I'm going to change it to a negative 8. Now you're done. Now you're done. Okay, again, a negative, you cannot have an answer that has a negative in front of your variable. Cannot have an answer that has a negative in front of your variable. Imran, you there?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to do number 13 or number 14? Okay, let's do it. So talk me through what this is telling you, Imran. This is x, what?
1 plus 7.
Okay, so x plus 7 is not really a 1, okay, but it's x plus 7. What does this mean?
7x.
Okay, now what does this mean, the fraction bar? What does a fraction mean to do, Imran?
Divide.
Okay, so x plus 7 divided by 5 equals negative 3. Okay, so your first step is I need to get rid of that divided by 5, Imran. Okay, your first step is I need to get rid of the divided by 5. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the inverse operation of a divided by 5. What would the inverse operation of that be?
I don't know.
What's the inverse of divide?
Oh, multiply.
Okay, so what number am I multiplying by on both sides?
5.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the left side by 5. I'm going to multiply the right side by 5. Because a multiplied by 5 and a divided by 5 cancel each other out, which is what we're trying to get. But I can't just cancel out on one side and not do it to the other. So that's why I'm multiplying by 5 on both sides. So on the left side, Imran, you multiplied by 5 and you divided by 5. Those cancel out. So you're left with x plus 7. So we're one step closer to the pot of gold. Okay, on the right side, you've got a negative 3 times positive 5. What's negative 3 times positive 5?
Positive 15.
Okay, one of them's negative and one of them's positive. Try again.
So it would be negative 15.
Absolutely. Okay, now you got one more step, Imran. What's the last step?
Your screen froze.
Okay, you got x plus 7 equals negative 15. And I want to get the x by itself.
You should minus the 7.
Absolutely.
7.
Good job. Okay, so Imran, you owe me $15 and you owe Sophia $7. What do you get?
Negative 22.
Absolutely. Good job, Imran. So I got one more question for you, Imran. Taking the first step that we did on number 13, what would be the first step on number 14?
Subtract 2. Subtract 2 on each side.
Did we subtract 5 on number 13?
No, you multiply 2 by each side.
Absolutely. So number 14, my first step would be to multiply by 2 on both sides. Again, why are we trying to do that? We're trying to do the opposite, get rid of inverse operation of the fraction. Okay, a fraction bar means to divide. So this is divided by 2. So the inverse operation is to multiply by 2. Hint, hint, hint. Damien, are you here?
Yes.
So Damien, we're going to do number 15. Okay, so Damien, what is the first step for number 15? Using what Imran just told me, we're going to do the exact same first step for 13, 14, and 15. You still there, Damien?
Do the opposite of division.
Okay, which is what? Thank you, Darren.
Multiplication.
Okay, so I'm going to multiply by what, Darren?
Negative 3 on both sides.
Okay, multiply by negative 3 on both sides. Those cancel out. You've got m minus 2. Okay, and again, you could write it as m plus a negative 2. Same thing. Same thing. Okay, and on the right side, Darren, what do I have?
Negative 2 times negative 3.
Which is?
Negative 6.
Okay, again, 2 wrongs make a right in math, Darren.
Oh, positive 6.
Positive 6, great. One more step. Damien, are you still there? Okay, you with us? M minus 2 equals 6. So, Damien, I've got one more step for you. I want to get rid of the minus 2. I want to do the opposite. What's the opposite of minus 2, Damien? Sorry? Absolutely. So let's add 2 to both sides. M equals, what's your answer, Damien? Great job. Osai, we're doing number 16. What's the first step for number 16? It's the same first step for 13, 14, 15, and 16. Why? Absolutely. So I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. Okay, so when I do that, Osai, what do I get? Negative. Good. Equals. Awesome. Okay, now you got one more step, Osai. I want to get the a by itself. Absolutely. So what do you get when you do that? You say negative 33?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Great job. Okay, so again, if I see that fraction bar there, I need to get rid of that first. Well, the way I get rid of a fraction bar is to multiply, because fraction means to divide. The inverse operation of to divide is to multiply. Okay, so if I see that fraction bar there, that is first priority. First priority. Okay, let's see, Jaden, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, Jaden, pick a number 1 through 24.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Hold on. Pick a number 1 through 24.
1.
Okay, Darren, if you raise your hand, I will answer your question. Don't just blurt it out. All right, so number 1. Okay, Jaden, what's the first step for number 1?
Subtract 4 and 11.
What do you get?
0 and 3.
Okay, so you get x on the left side. You don't get 0. Right? Because the x didn't go away. Okay, so x equals what, Jaden?
3.
Awesome. Suani, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, pick a number 1 through 24, but you can't pick 1.
I'll do 8.
8? Okay, good. All right, so I've got negative 22 equals n divided by 2. So how would I solve that, Suwani?
First
Absolutely, because a fraction bar means to divide. So the opposite, the inverse operation of dividing, is multiplying. So multiplying by 2 on both sides. So a divided by 2 and a multiplied by 2 cancel out, which is what we're trying to get. So on the right side, Suwani, what do you have? You have n, right? That's it. Okay, what about on the left side? You got a negative 22 and you multiplied by 2. Awesome. Are you done? I know I'm done when there is nothing in front of your variable. There is no number in front of your variable other than a 1. Okay, so that's how I know I'm done. All right, Muhammad, you there?
Yes.
Okay, pick a number 1 through 24. Not number 1 or number 8.
13.
13, okay. What's going to be your first step, Muhammad?
-3 on both sides.
Awesome. So again, I'm going to isolate for the variable, right? Okay, so this 2x is my variable. So I need to get rid of everything else on that side of the equal sign. So I'm going to do the inverse operation of plus 3, which Muhammad said is to subtract 3 on both sides. You're absolutely right. So let's subtract 3 here. Let's subtract 3 here. Okay, so what do you get, Muhammad?
You get 2x equals -10.
Great job. Okay, so you've got one more step, Muhammad. What is it?
Take out the 2.
Okay, so when you say take out, I need an operation instead of take out. So 2 is right, but what am I doing to that 2? I can't just take it out. I got to either multiply, divide, add, or subtract.
You get subtract 2.
Okay, that 2 is multiplied by the x. So this is, in math, when we write something side by side, it means that they're multiplied together. So right now this is telling me 2 times x. So let's try again, Muhammad.
Divide by 2.
Absolutely. Those cancel out. I'm left with x equals what?
-5.
-5. Great job. -5. Fantastic. All right. Hadi, you there? Hey. How's your day going? Good? It's going pretty good. I mean, I've been standing up, I've been moving around, so I'm feeling, I'm feeling the juices. By the way, guys, this is like a little neck mask, This is not a scarf. So, but I feel like I can see myself in y'all's screen, so I feel like y'all are like, Coach Sapp, why do you wear a scarf every day? Like, it's not a scarf. Calm down. Okay, even though it is freezing cold in our rooms. All right, but this is just like a neck mask. Okay, so if I did have enough fat. Oh, it's not sorry. It's not a brace. If I did have enough fashion to pull off a scarf, I probably would try. Okay, but no, like I'm not on that level. You know what I'm saying? All right, sorry. Hadi, you there? Yeah. Okay, cool. What number did you say? 14. All right. What's the first step, Hadi? Okay, so I want to get rid of that, right? I want to move it. Okay, you're absolutely right. I want to get rid of it because I want to isolate for the variable. So I'm trying to get this 6a by itself. So again, in math, I want to do the opposite to move it. Perfect. So let's add 5 to both sides because again, you got to do it to both sides of the equal sign. So a -5 and a +5, those cancel out. What do you got over here? How do you got a? Fantastic. So let's bring it down. What about on the right side of the equal sign? You got 19 and you get $5 more from the piggy bank. 24. Last step. Again, this means 6 times A. This means 6 times A. So the last step is to do the opposite of that, which is to divide by okay, so let's divide by 6 on both sides. So what does A equal? Perfect. Okay, so guys, the last step when we start getting into actual equations is to divide by the coefficient. Okay, and again, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. Right? So on number 13, the coefficient was 2. Guess what? The last step we divided by 2. Number 14, the coefficient was 6. Guess what? Last step we divided by 6. So number 15, the coefficient is 9. So what number do you think you're going to be dividing by? Wow. 9, right? Okay, math, I know. Isn't that crazy, guys? Isn't that crazy? Okay? It's just weird. All right? Questions on anything we've done today?
No, sir.
Okay, again, let me pull this back up. Week 1. Bottom of week 1. Let me stop